I call to order this meeting of the Warren County School Board for Thursday, October 9th, 2014. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda is to accept or modify the agenda. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I ask that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second?
All those in favor, aye.
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 Small group tonight.
Yeah, we're either going to make the motion or second it.
Community participation. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Reports, staff reports.
There are no staff reports tonight.
Superintendent report.
I just have a couple of things to mention to you. The first one is that the Board of Supervisors last Tuesday approved the VPSA standalone option to fund the new middle school. They did that by unanimous vote. So now the process is to submit the application. They've already had the public hearing and everything they needed to have, and Ted Cole and Dan Siegel, Ted Cole from Davenport and Dan Siegel from Sands Anderson, will put all that information together and submit it in a timely fashion. And the reason they chose the VPSA standalone option, they had other options that were being looked at. One was the VPSA group option, and the other was the VPSA standalone option, and then they looked into actual bank loans. And the VPSA standalone option, in the overall interest rate as it stands now, of course those things can change between now and the time that the bonds are purchased, but was the most cost effective to the Board of Supervisors. And the interest rate, I think overall interest rate was about 3.22. And also the standalone option is a little more flexible than the VPSA group option. If you choose the VPSA group option to be in the pool, then the VPSA group decides when it can be refinanced or anything else. And usually has to be at least 10 years before anything can be refinanced. If you are in a standalone, then you have more leeway and flexibility, and as interest rates move, you may have the option to refinance it sooner than the 10 years. So that's why they chose that. And then the bank loan option, they had a viable, I guess, proposal from BB&T, but the BB&T wanted to do a $20 million loan in the current year, and then like in December, and then do another $20 million loan in January, so it covers a 2-year span. And that option was, I think, something they considered, the Board of Supervisors considered, but again, the VPSA standalone was the one that they thought was best for the county and to fund the new middle school. And the only other thing I have tonight is really to talk a little bit about the tours that we've been doing of Warren County Middle School. We continue to do those. We did a couple of this summer. In June, the class of 1959 and the class of 1974 did tours. And this fall, from the end of September through this month, this is the busy time. On the September 27th, Buck Smith and I did the class of 1954. And last Saturday, we did the class of 64. This Saturday, we're doing the class of 94. And the following week, the class of 1984 is going to tour, but Mr. Alan Fox is going to do that tour since that's his graduating class, so he'll do the tour, and Buck and I get to rest. But it's always fun to see those reunion tour classes, and last week, the class of 64 was a rather large group. It was about 25, 27 people, and that's the size group that we truly need to have two tour guides, because one needs to be in the front and one needs to be in back, because they tend to scatter.
Speak off.
And, but it's, I mean, they go in these classrooms and they reminisce and probably tell some secrets that they shouldn't tell, and I told them we wouldn't tell on them now, the things that they did in those classrooms. And we were in the chemistry lab, and I told them I was sure that some of them in that group helped put those stains on the floor, but they didn't ask them to admit to it. But they just grinned at that. So again, that's always one of those wonderful things that we do, and I'm glad that we've had the opportunity to do that. And they're all very grateful for the tours. They're grateful to see the memorabilia that we have in those cabinets, and they are so happy to see that their school is still being used as a school, and that the renovation was done, that historic renovation was done, and they recognize things that were there when they were there, but they really appreciate how the two styles have been blended.
That's nice.
That's all I have tonight.
I always hear good reports about the tours.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. School board reports, Mrs. Shrevka?
Did all those tours, the graduation year, end in 4?
This year they have. Sometimes, this is the zero
Right,
year,
right.
but we have some that sometimes that do if they do 5-year reunions, we have the 5
Yeah.
classes too, but these happen to be all 0 years, except for the class of 59.
Okay. The only thing I have to report is I look forward to going to Warren County High School next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and meeting Mrs. Mallow, who is taking over the AP English class for Bev Timbrook. I worked with Bev for many years, and I'll be in the AP English class Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, doing my American Poetry seminar. But I've swapped out one poem, Elizabeth Bishop's one poem, for another one, so it brought me back to my college days when doing research papers, because we went out to Iowa in a camper and I had no internet access other than my phone. I had no laptop, so here I am writing notes in 15 different spots, and then I had to come home and put it all together so I could get it to the teacher. But I'm really looking forward to meeting her and to working with her students for 3 days next week.
I know how you prepare for things.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bet you have put in quite a few hours.
Oh, always.
Thank you. Mr. Boyles?
I wanted to mention and remind everyone about the VSBA annual convention on November the 19th, 20th, and 21st. Hope that all board members will be able to attend. I'm not sure at this point how many workshops I will be able to attend. As past president of the Virginia School Boards Association, I still have some commitments and presentations that I have to go to. Some are some receptions, but one is the Award of Distinction luncheon that I have to speak at on Wednesday, and then the President-elect reception and notification of that. The current president and they're at the Delegate Assembly, of course, as past president, I'll be serving as chairman of the nominating committee and making that report at the Delegate Assembly on Thursday afternoon. I believe Mr. Wells is our delegate and Ms. Bauer is our alternate delegate. So I will be at that meeting, and that Friday will be the last day of my overall term as serving at the state level. And I just wanted to thank you all for your support, and think Warren County has been recognized for excellence in education, and hopefully I've been able to expand that a little bit at the state level. And wanted to thank you all for allowing me to serve in that capacity. Being elected by the 134 school divisions in the state of Virginia has been an honor.
I think we feel honored to have you in that position.
Absolutely. It's quite an honor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I can't even remember the date, but the other week we had a professional day, and there was a speaker there on poverty, and I was able to sneak in to the back of the auditorium and listen for a little over an hour, and wow, what a great speaker. And I heard comments from some of the teachers that the afternoon was even better. A lot of statistics, a real eye opener on dealing with children in the poverty level and comparing the different socioeconomic levels in education. I would love, I don't know if anybody taped that or no? Okay, I would have loved to have heard all of what she had to present. And also, on my way here this evening, I was trying to come down Luray Avenue, and I had to sit and wait a few minutes because the homecoming parade was going down. The kids were having a lot of fun. So Skyline Homecoming is tomorrow night, correct? And then
Yes.
Warren County next Friday.
Yes.
So I wishes for great games.
And
And
hopefully the rain will
Hold
be
on.
good.
Hold on.
Yes.
Okay. And that's all I have to report. Action agenda, presentations by staff, appointment of gifted advisory committee. Mrs. Myers.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The state gifted regulations require that our members of the Gifted Advisory Committee be approved by the local school board. So I'm here this evening to ask that you approve the list of nominations that you have. You should have an updated list there in front of you. One member was not able to serve, so we were able to find a replacement, and that was a last-minute replacement. So you have the updated list in front of you. So just asking for your approval.
Is there a motion?
I move that the list of nominations for the Warren County Public Schools Gifted Advisory Committee be approved for appointment.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
And we want to
Motion
thank,
carries.
yeah, we want to thank all those people for their
Absolutely.
willingness to
Yes,
serve.
absolutely.
And thank you for your service, too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Myers. Approved May 2014 VSBA policy updates. Mr. Valentine?
Good evening. In May of 2014, the Virginia School Boards Association, who we subscribe to their policy services, submitted 39 policies for consideration by the Warren County School Board. All but 2 of the policies are currently included in the policy manual, and many have just minor changes. Now, since our last meeting when we presented on a first reading, the listing with the recommendations by staff are included, so I can say that those 2 policies that are not included are recommended to be included in the policy manual and what you adopt this evening. But also there is one policy that we still have a little bit of a question about and we're still working with, so we're going to recommend you pull that one. It's recommended not to approve it this evening pending further review. That is the one number 27 on the list, which is JHCD and deals with administering medicine to students. Currently, I believe the policy allows for, under certain stipulations where the parent has agreed and a number of things, for students in grades 9 through 12 to self-administer non-prescription drugs. The policy recommendation from VSBA was to include K through 12 in that, and some staff members were just a little bit concerned about managing that and the implications of doing that. And asked that I check with VSBA to find out if that was something that was included in new state law or something, or if the Board of Education required that. And I got a message back today, but I haven't been able to talk to her, from Elizabeth Ewing, the attorney for the School Board Association who does a lot of this work. And she said the short answer is no, it does not have to, it is not required by law, but she'd like to talk to me about some of the reasons and things. And I just didn't get a chance and didn't want to rush it, and we need to get it to the appropriate staff members then for them to consider. So we're asking that you, as recommended here, not at this time approve the changes to JHCD, but leave the policy as it is. And we will not be in any violation of the law leaving it that way at this point, and we'll come back to you with a recommendation on whether we want to approve it or permanently leave it similar to the way it is. Be glad to answer any questions you might have about any of the proposed changes.
I have a question about 2 of the policies. If we look at GAE/JHG, it's a new policy.
Which number is it?
It's GAE
Oh, I
slash
see.
JHG.
Child abuse and neglect reporting.
It's the 8th item. It's a new policy. So my concern, because the school board is named here in the second section, And it says the school board will post in each school a notice, and then it gives the information. So I just want to make sure that, because it's our responsibility that those postings are there or will be there in the very near future. The school board posts in each,
Are they there?
No, I don't believe they're there yet, but Mr. Smith,
That update this policy, but I'll make sure that they're there.
yeah, okay.
And where are they posted in the school? In the office, or?
They could be posted in the teacher workroom area, they could be posted, sometimes on the copier there at the main office.
Okay.
Or both places.
Both, I think, would be great. Thank you. And the other question, and I really feel for administrators, is the JFC-R. As Mrs. Shepherd pointed out, there are drastic changes to the student dress code. And I'm looking at them, the things that now are prohibited, and I just can't imagine how administrators are going to deal with this situation, because as we know, a lot of this type of clothing is prevalent in high schools all over the country. And I think there's going to be a learning curve, and many students sent down to the office or sent home, and I hope it's not overwhelming, but I think it will be in the beginning. That's all.
Okay. Any other comments? Is there a motion?
I move that the May 2014 VSBA policy updates as reviewed and recommended by staff be approved for inclusion in the Warren County Public School Policy Manual. Do you want me to mention about pulling any changes for JHCD in this motion, or is just...
Yeah, I think it wouldn't hurt. It's probably referred to in the comments there or in the recommendations, but it wouldn't hurt to...
Except for changes in policy JHCD.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Presentations by superintendent.
I don't have any tonight.
Is it okay just to say, everyone please take the time to review the potential topics for the October 14th meeting?
Well, I think maybe I can make a few comments about those if you'd like.
Okay.
Okay. As you know, one of the potential topics is the custodial management services contract. We have been putting together you've been in negotiation with two firms to provide a custodial management services contract, and we have a draft contract that has been sent to our attorney and has been returned, and Melody will have that for you to look at Monday. Why do I keep saying Monday? Tuesday night, or Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Also, you will be needing to schedule a meeting to interview candidates for the Shenandoah District board member vacancy. We felt that since there are only three of the four of you here tonight, that would be better to have all your calendars. So please bring your calendars with you. You have to appoint a new member of the Shenandoah District by November 3rd. You also will need to schedule a meeting to interview the superintendent search firms. As you all are aware, you received 4 RFPs, and you need to you may be able to decide on two or 3 or 4 that you want to interview them and do that schedule.
Yeah. Even though D, it says review superintendent search firms, which we will do, I'm hoping that we've all individually,
Right.
and come in with some notions of which look more appropriate or potentially worthwhile.
And then the only thing that I would add is, because Ms. Athey was vice chair of the Warren County School Board, you probably need to go ahead on the 14th and elect a new chair.
Okay.
So if you want to be thinking about that.
Elect a new vice chair?
Vice
I'm a vice chair. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You could-
I meant vice chair.
Okay. Is that all?
That's enough.
Okay, thank you. Potential topics for October 23rd work session, select workshops, and you're going to be getting a list of those, Roy, or we will all be receiving those?
Everybody should be receiving. We have not received them yet. They haven't, as far as I know, they've not been posted on the VSBA website as to all the different things.
Okay. And then the interview or appoint Shenandoah District School Board member.
Yes.
Is there any other business? I think we just set a record for
That's the fastest meeting.
fastest meeting. We do need to go into closed session. Is there a motion?
This motion is made that this open public meeting of the Warren County School Board become a closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711. The school board desires to discuss the following matter in a closed meeting. Section 2.2-3711A2, discussion or consideration of admission or disciplinary matters or any other matters that would involve the disclosure of information contained in a scholastic record concerning any student in Warren County Public Schools, specifically the request from a family to rescind a previously approved release from compulsory attendance. Be it resolved that the School Board of Warren County does hereby authorize discussion in closed meeting of the matter identified herein.
Second.
Mr. Clerk, please call roll.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Boyles?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharefko?
Yes.
Motion carries. We are in closed session.